On the draw here. Didn't you say prowess? I wouldn't say prowess. I like prowess being good and popular for sure. This surveillance really awkward in this hand. I think I'm supposed to keep on the draw though. So the thing about prowess is prowess is a deck that like just stomps on like most combo, not any deck. Like there aren't really like just great sideboard cards that any deck can play against prowess, but I do generally think prowess is a good deck for the health of the format to be popular. What do you think is the main thing the Viper deck needs or missing? Honestly, I think the deck is pretty close to solved. I didn't really like the second Salvage Titan very much. I kind of wish I'd played like the first Ornithopter over the second Salvage Titan from yesterday. But I know we trophied with it on Friday. It just feels really good. It feels like you're weak to hate cards sometimes, and it's all pretty normal, right? What is this? What does this mean? This Boggart Bog. Do I play around Force of Negation? What does this mean? I think I'll play around Force of Negation. Yeah, could be Necro. The Mire's like, I haven't seen Necro in a while. I think I'm gonna Fatal Push here. If they Necro me, we still can just play this game normal, kind of. Could be blue-based Esper. Probably not with Mire, right? Maybe. Be black-based Esper, I guess. Yeah, Grixis Reanimator makes some sense. I agree. Unearth this. They do miss their third land. Deluge good against Affinity. I agree that it's good against Affinity. I don't think it's like a banger necessarily. It's pretty bad if they go land third frog or go unearth frog here. I guess I'm not gonna Wan. They have Flood Moons probably. I think yeah, maybe. We'll see a little bit more what they're playing. I have to imagine that land means Necro. I think it's likely. It's also possible that this is like Grixis Unearth or Dimir Unearth, and they're playing Bog, Grixis Esper Unearth. I guess Esper Unearth's not gonna happen here with the Mire. I have been thinking a little bit about unearthing a Monastery Mentor again, just to like enjoy my day, I guess. So it does seem like if I won, we're gonna get Fatal Pushed. So I don't really think they're gonna leave me with the one if they don't have an answer to it while I have Field in play. So let's play Bowmaster instead of one, and then immediately get punished by drawing second one. The classic draw go. It's like think out your play and then get punished immediately. They did have the Fatal Push. 5 cards over there. Tried so hard to make Unearth Mentor Underworld Breach work. Yeah, we played red-white Unearth Breach Mentor a couple of times. Wasn't that bad. So they probably have a second push, but we'll just go ahead and make this trade. Nice Springleaf Drum art. Well, I can't not look at that. Targeted ads. I only like the NBA. To attain the preferred timber for marrow shanties, the kelp leaf must be moistened with fresh water and struck with a fluid wrist. Cool. Okay, it is Necro. Necro confirmed, although we somehow get a 2-for-1. Alright, so they got 2 cards in their hand. What about white unearth? Yeah, so like we had red white. So when I've been looking at Mentor again, I've been looking at red white. So like Faithless Looting, Unearth Mentor, and I've been kind of looking at playing it in the Delirium style shell that we had played it in. Okay, interesting. Kind of feels like this is bait for Necro a little bit, maybe. The thing is that they Necro, their life total is kind of low already, so I don't need to be delving this much. So if they play a Necro, what do we do? Like, just having 4 power while they're at 10 is not too bad. I can consult and I can hit. Okay, this is probably actually a hypogeometric calculator situation. So I can hit one of my 2 spell pierces. I can hit one of my 4 bowmasters, and I can hit one of my 3 counterspells left. So that's 9 hits, right? So sample size is 4, population size is 43, and I have 9 really good hits by my calculations. So if we consult, we're 62% to hit one of those. Wait, there's only 3 bowmasters? Oh, right, there's only 3 bowmasters. 57. I also could just still play Wan if I miss. So I think I'll play the consult here. If I would like just lose the game otherwise, then I probably wouldn't. Now, do we spell person or do we bowmaster? I think we just bowmaster. I think bowmaster's got to be it. Like, they just can't do anything. They're just so screwed. Yeah, I'll just draw 0. You wanted to pierce? I think the bowmaster's got to be better here. If their last card is a removal spell, they're still just in awful position. And it has to be a removal spell. Looks like it's a march. Okay, so we'll fatal push our own bowmaster, I guess, to deny the 2 life points. They know I've got a wand. They know it's in the hands, so I'll just go ahead and play it. Oh, it's whatever. Out of Pierce 2, I think it's because I'm a scared little baby. I think that's. I mean, like, they did have the march in their hands, so the Pierce maybe what did end up being better. I think we're still in like amazing shape here. They go to 1. They must find black card, Soul Spike, and then even then they're not in great shape. Okay, and they don't find it, so definitely an interesting spot. We're gonna bring in the Force of Negation. Down 1 subtlety. I think I went to Dispute since they're playing Frogs and Riddlers. They probably have some counter magic too. Sorry, I meant to drag out Subtlety. I want to play exactly 1 Subtlety, maybe less than that. Maybe down an Edict. Yeah, I know Consign for the trigger is fine, but the thing is we just have so many cards that are really good against Necro. I don't think we want a card that's just like okay with Necros in play. Okay, opponents at a multi 6 on the play. They keep their 6. No turn 1 discard spell. Did ever end up trying pre-modern? Assuming not a fan since you haven't streamed it. I did end up like starting to try to play it. So I guess no is the answer. I spent a little bit of time looking at decks and stuff. There is like I do like the Goblin Welder decks. If I was gonna play pre-modern, that's what I'd play. I'm not like not a fan, and I'm not unopposed to playing it. But the thing is, I just really like where modern is at the moment, and simply put, when I really like modern, it's so difficult for me to play anything else because like I have not had a hard time finding decks to play, finding stuff that's interesting to me for like the entire Avatar set release. Compare that to the Omen Paths. Compare that to Omen Paths. Don't think I'm supposed to subtlety this. Compared to the Omen Paths, like I got bored really fast. So like if pre-modern had came out during the Omen Paths era, which I don't think it did, then I would have been a lot more likely to have played it then. So if we have another Omen Path style flop, and there is a okay, they didn't have Necro this turn, so it's probably safe-ish to play the one, right? It's not like you just can't beat a Necro if it's in play. So yeah, there are some other Marvel sets coming out. Not that really means that they're going to be a similar level of flop, anyways. But if there's another flop set for modern, then I am somewhat likely to play pre-modern. Okay, obviously we're likely to subtlety this. If I draw Fatal Push or something, we won't. Sure, let's go and just field that away. Yeah, I mean they could. No, I don't want to draw step because we don't want them to draw the shield. They might not have a third basic. They probably do though. Yeah, they do. Could I do a yearly Dono deck stream? I really miss the zombie trophies. I don't know, I've been thinking a little bit about doing like end of stream donation deck or no, or end of stream like deck text like once a week. Could Bowmaster this. I think I'm just gonna counterspell. Kind of close. Is their last card a Necro? Seems unlikely. I do miss the zombie decks though. So they refound a Sheoldred, huh? So let's go upkeep surveil to play around drawing fatal push for turn and wanting to have revolt. We also have one Sheoldred's Edict still. A little late. So maybe we can double block the Sheoldred next turn. Does that mean I want to Bowmaster ping and chump block this turn? I think it does actually. I'm gonna be more okay taking like 4 from the Sheoldred if I don't take 4 next turn from the draw. Okay, well now things get more awkward. I guess I could just, yeah, I could block with just the one. It'd be nice if they play like a 2-drop here and just were hellbent and didn't have to worry too much. My one and only Dono deck made Spike change the rule from 0-3 drop to 0-2 drop. What was the deck? I don't. So I'm down to 12. So I can play this to hold up snare, or I can play it tapped to take less damage. I think it's okay since like I probably just am gonna lose if they have fatal push anyways. Like if I hold up the snare or don't. And so this playing around like an edict or something else is probably fine. They like there's just not a very high chance they play another Sheoldred, so like my life total is probably not gonna matter that much except for Soul Spike. It was Imri Gifts, Ungiven Pile with Thopter Sword, a real mess. That's funny. The good old days. Alright, so I'm gonna go down to 6. Oh, they do have another fatal push. So if I draw, okay, Cling to Dust lets me live, I guess. Dang, is that the third fatal push? Yeah, that was the third fatal push. So I'm gonna go to 5, then I'm gonna go down to 3, and then oh wow. This is fun. So I can draw 1 card off the wand, chump block, and then push the Sheoldred and go to 1. Go to 1. Maybe I have too many spell snares. Probably will go down on snare for game 3. Do think I'm gonna go to 1 here. Okay, this is fine. Actually, this is better for me. So I'm holding priority here. So I don't actually lose the 2 life. Actually, just actually better for me this turn, funny enough. Okay, so if they had a 7th mana, I'd probably main phase, gain life off Cling to Dust to play around, hardcast Soul Spike. Oh, we drew Counterspell, let's go. These games are so fun. Man, I really like when I can play decks like this. I guess let's see if we draw a Subtlety off of a Cling. You know, I thought about fetching an island first. Last fetchable. I feel like I almost never get to top deck Wan in these kind of situations. Oh my gosh. Their hand was Necro Frog. How is it Necro and Frog? Which one did they not play last turn? I guess the Frog. So it's going to get out of Soul Spike range now, I guess. Dang. Maybe they might just draw 19 and try to double Soul Spike me. They only have one Fatal Push left in the deck. So hard to not snare the Frog there. They did draw 19. They find the fourth Fatal Push. If they just don't find a Soul Spike, it's so funny here. Okay, there's a Soul Spike. We've had one Soul Spike, yes, but what about second Soul Spike? Yeah, we'll go down on snares for game 3. I would have thought they would have a more 2-mana removal, but I guess not. I don't think that, at this point, I don't think they have the second Soul Spike, thankfully. So they've got 5 bangers in their hand. Oh, what a great top deck. This has been a great match. You gotta really appreciate these really good, really unique matches while you get to play them, because a lot of Modern can be kind of repetitive. Yeah, no frogs. I've been really enjoying just the all-flash game plan. They kept a Verdant Catacombs? How is that possible? So I can pay one more pretty comfortably. I'm a little bit worried about March. How did they keep Verdant Catacombs? Let's go to another frog. Guess that makes some sense. So this is March, and then I get to snare the March? No way. It can't be pushed. They've already used all 4 pushes. Oh, no, I don't get to snare it. Okay. So going to 4 doesn't matter, so we'll see if we draw a Spell Pierce. I guess I maybe overpaid on my Logic Knot then. Whatever. Okay, I also could have drawn Force. So they go to 4, then they get pinged for 1, then they draw 2. And then they can Necro to draw up to 2 more cards. They probably will just go to 1 here. Try to find a Soul Spike. They do go to 1. I feel kind of likely to get Soul Spiked here. Yeah. They just missed the second one on so many cards there. Close game. Very, very close game. Should we have let that go and flash in the Bowman so they can't draw or attack? Let that go and flashed in the Bowman so they can't draw or attack and have the counter for March. You want to let Sheoldred go? I countered Sheoldred. There's no way you're supposed to not counter Sheoldred, right? Okay, so let's go down to 1 snare, and then they're a lot more Sheoldred heavy than I thought. The subtleties can also be good against the Riddlers a lot of the time, so back up to 3 subtleties, I think. I think 6 removal spells is a pretty good number. Although maybe I want 1 more Edict, since this hits Riddler. We're on the play also, so we can counter Frog more easily. We also have disputes for Frog. Yeah, I had to kill it. All right, let's keep this on the play. Rock and roll to 3 years. Welcome back. What do you think about Tommy on this list and running Kaito on the board for the Solitude decks and the grinding matchups? So you can play Tomio. Tomio will be fine. I've been really enjoying this play style though, and this play style is something I'm really interested in continuing to explore, which is just all flash threats. It's been feeling really good. I hate Kaito. I think that card is bad. It's maybe suboptimal, a little underpowered is the right word to use for Kaito, but I'm not really convinced that the card is modern power level, or I it's like it's very similar to almost any other 3/4 mana card advantage spell you could play. It maybe is the best one if you want to play a card like that, but I'm not even really convinced you should be playing cards like this in these archetypes. It's like I really hate that it's a grindy card that's bad against Boros, which is, kind of the main grindy matchup at the moment. There's just a lot I dislike about it, I suppose. I think I'll dispute so I can get a nice double spell off this turn. Rock and roll the 3 years. Tuning in after a short break. Nice. Well, welcome back. I do think it's a good time to be playing Modern again. Avatar was really good. Edge of Eternities was really good. And then Lorwyn is looking good. Omen Path / Spider-Man was worst standard set ever for Modern, although it didn't impact it very much. So it's not like it was a huge net negative or anything, I guess. They do have a push. Okay, second Bowmaster is obviously really nice. Necro Insurance here. I did see the store promos. I don't know if it's going to get me in the store. I still have bought very few MH3 cards. I've played very few paper events post MH3. So they have a Riddler, maybe? So let's actually Edict this now, because they might be wanting to discard a card to draw an extra card, and then the Bowmaster would get better. I mean, they only have one card. Lauren looks a bit low powered. I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be good brewing for standard. It is a standard set, But there seems to be like plenty of good stuff for modern. Maybe nothing as good as like Badger Bowl or Riddler or Airship or anything like that, but we also haven't seen the whole set yet, or at least I haven't. All right, so they're down to 6. I don't think we were supposed to main phase the Bowmaster for 2 extra damage. The Necro's already pretty bad. All right, so let's kick this in response. We might find Subtlety blue card, and I would want to do that. Okay, we don't. I guess we'll take second consult and the Demolition Field. We can attack with the Orc. They have to block it. They're dead if they don't. Or they're dead to the Bowmaster that they don't know about, I guess. So we can ping them down to 5. My Orc army goes to 5. Trades with Sheoldred. I've got 2 Bowmasters in play against the Necro Riddler deck. Counterspell up. Would just let Necro resolve, of course. Could attack both. Yeah, you're right. We could have attacked with the Bowmaster. So missed a point there. This is their last card in their hand. I mean, I think that's fine. We just keeping the counterspell in our hand is too insane. Oh wait, sorry, I forgot about the Riddler. Oh my gosh, I forgot about the Riddler. Not the end of the world, but kind of a big punt. Do I consult end of turn? I think that's probably a little too thirsty. Let's just chill. Compose ourselves a little bit. But yeah, I should have countered the I think I should have countered, yeah, I should have definitely countered the Soul Spike, then they couldn't have played this Riddler. If only this was Arena, it would have reminded me of all the cards they could still play. They're not attacking, are they? Yeah, no way. So let's keep the counterspell up. I think. Yes. Pretty telegraphed. I think that's okay. Sure. They are going to get to draw an extra card. I think that's also okay. Very weird game. Harder than it needed to be. So they're down to 6. 2 cards in their hand here. I think we're still chilling on the consult. Kind of close, though. So it doesn't seem like they... It seems like they must have just drawn that. Alright, it's probably good to cast the Consult at this point. I think that they're very unlikely to have another removal spell in their hand. The way all the timing of stuff has gone. Alright, so I guess we keep just a Subtlety. Maybe another Counterspell was better, though. A little bit difficult to say no to Power and Toughness, though. We're going to save the Field of Ruin for Revolt on the Fatal Push. Their hand is probably some combination of Necro, maybe Soul Spike. They would be playing all their lands. This was their draw for turn. So they could have hardcast Soul Spike up. So I don't think we're going to just run out the Subtlety here. Not that we necessarily would anyways. Not having a Cling to Dust in these kind of games is tough. So that was their draw again. Again, I don't really see a big reason to break the holding pattern since their hand is like some combination of Necro, Soul Spike, almost for sure. It's not like we have an Alpha Strike if I play the Subtlety. I do still have one Sheoldred's Edict in the deck. Okay, rewarded for patience. I'm not going to be fielding this turn. I will be fielding probably on their upkeep now. So we could keep the Delta for Revolt for a top deck Sheoldred. They do put the Riddler on top. Maybe double check that I do have the other Surveil land in the deck. Looks like I do. Let's go and get the Surveil. Since they don't have Sheoldred in their hand and they're not drawing it next turn. So if I attack with the Subtlety and the Orc, they go to 3. Oh, interesting. So they go to 3, and then they Riddler, and then they die to this Bowmaster. So it seems like we have our attack here, and we're not going to shuffle the Riddler anymore since the Bowmaster is lethal, and we've got the Logic Knot up. Oh, sorry, I should have... I thought they were going to block the Orc. It shouldn't really matter a lot, again, since... they're gonna Riddler, and they're gonna die to Bowmaster, but... -1 damage. Why not attack with Bowmaster 2? Sorry, I found this lethal, which involved this other Bowmaster being in play this turn. But you're right, it was another free attack. So I guess they should have been dead just this turn. Although attacking the Bowmaster 2 really implies I drew the Bowmaster. Could have played a lot better. Is what it is. I just totally forgot that they had the Riddler and Warp. Like this game should have been over like 10 minutes ago. But it's over now, and we do win. Alright, 2 days ago on Boros Energy. This is definitely a hand I would like to keep on the play against Boros Energy, although it does need to draw another land. Okay, not Boros Energy. Snow-covered forest. So probably Simic Ritual. The 1 swamp punishing us here. Enchantress, let's go. Could be. I kind of miss Enchantress. It doesn't apply Bowmaster because you have 2 other creatures enough for lethal. Yeah, you're right. It was definitely right to attack with the Bowmaster. Should we have upkeep the Bowmaster? Maybe we should have. Like, if we hold it, it's better against Coiling Oracle, for whatever that's worth. Don't hate this getting flared. So, holding up Counterspell is pretty good against Shardless Agent, I guess. But resolving the Wand is also really, really good. You can have Subtlety. So I should be upkeeping it if I'm going to play it this turn. Let's hold. Let's hold. I'm okay with it getting countered. Although here, we're going to get our 2 for 1. If they do go Agent into Birthing Ritual into Oculus, it's annoying, but we can Field of Ruin maybe into Fatal Push at the very least. Although they do get a basic Forest again. So maybe they'll just not hit Birthing Ritual. Although now we have Revolts for Oculus. They do hit the Birthing Ritual. And they hit the Oculus. Yeah, they definitely had it when they sacked that fast. Okay. So we're gonna upkeep the Fatal Push, I think. Well, actually, I probably just need to be getting the damage in, not playing around Force of Negation. Subtlety seems fine here, since we need to keep creatures off the board. I can counterspell Force of Negation, but I'd rather counterspell a creature next turn potentially, and hope that this is not a creature. If this is another Oculus, it's GG probably. So Breeding Pool. So we do have a Demolition Field target now. Oh, thank goodness no attack with the Manifest. Could still be Endurance though. Seems like they've got Hardcast Subtlety up. I guess if it's Endurance, we can play the Demolition Field to grow the Wan. This is deck what Timebinder? Maybe. I don't know how well. It feels like it helps all of our good matchups. It hurts all of our bad matchups. Maybe it's just a good sideboard card. I haven't played a lot of Tidebinder lately. Odawara. Okay. What do you consider good and bad matchups? I feel really good against most things that aren't Boros and Prowess, honestly. And it's not like those matchups are super duper bad. Yeah, if they have a Subtlety, it's bad to Subtlety here, but dang. Oh, they concede the game? That's one of the worst concessions I've ever seen, honestly. I guess their hand maybe it was all lands or something, but still. Okay, Sheoldred Edict very bad. Might just be 3/3 here. I don't hate the first Damnation. I don't like it that much either. It's kind of fragile. Yeah, I guess if their hand was all lands, it was fine. Do I want a Force of Negation? Kinda. I think the first Force is probably good. I think I want all the Pierces though. I think I want all the Snares. Could kind of cling. Seems okay. Yeah, let's not Damnation. EE for 2. I think between like Spear, Snare, Counterspell, Force of Negation, I think we're just pretty good at stopping the ritual, so I don't think we need the EE on 2. Like you saw that game, you can also sometimes beat it. Although this hand doesn't have an answer for turn 2 ritual. They do keep a card on top. Yeah, thankfully not a ritual. They reveal a Sink. Big downside, Sink here not going to play, huh? Don't hate a Fatal Push. It's a bit awkward. I guess we have the Field of Ruin for Revolt. Yeah, but just being able to have a Fatal Push for the Hardcast Oculus is usually pretty nice. If they crack a fetch, I should probably play one. It's just awkward if they cascade into a ritual. What's the best black card to deal with Planeswalkers Edict? Well, the best black card to deal with Planeswalkers is the Elder Spell. That's really good at dealing with Planeswalkers. Sheoldred's Edict a little bit more versatile, thankfully. So they let the wand resolve. Then they dismember. Okay. So I guess I play Field of Ruin. So if our opponent goes fetch Surveil Oculus, we can just fetch Field of Ruin Fatal Push. Do you ever miss rhinos? Post Violent Outburst ban, yes, I guess. All right, let's not play into Subtlety. Did traditional control, hold on. It's so awkward I can't I mean, so obvious I have one, but yeah, the field's a bit awkward here. Maybe I should have fielded last turn. Do you think Wan Shi Tong is a good blue-white control card currently? I think it will always be a pretty solid option for blue-white. It just kind of depends on like how much you want to be leaning into a just more traditional control where you'd play Wan versus the Planeswalker Narset Days Undoing package versus like Riddler Ephemerate, are just all slightly different directions that you can go down. Spike revealing he plays Commander off stream because there's no other reason to know the Elder Spell by heart. So I mean, I do like Commander. This is to everyone's surprise all the time. I think Commander's fun. But the reason I know the Elder Spell is because my friend, I played it at a reasonably sized tournament. There's no way I still have the list. It was before I was streaming, but it was a standard deck that my friend Zach built. It was a standard deck that my friend Zach built, and all right, I think I'm gonna cast the Bowmaster now. And the idea was you would like Elder Spell your own War of the Spark Planeswalkers to get an ultimate. And you only play like a couple copies, but it ended up being like not that bad. And I had like a pretty good run with it. I can't remember exactly how like which I don't remember which tournament it was or how well I finished, but I remember I had a good run. Who's your favorite commander and least favorite? I would say I have zero least favorite commanders. I don't play it enough to be a salty internet commander player, I guess. Not yet, at least. They do hit an Ice Fang here. So do I counterspell one of these? Probably not. Probably just gonna go Field of Ruin, Fatal Push the Agent to keep my life total padded. Yeah, I don't play enough commander to have like I hate this commander. But my favorite historically is Orloro. That's what I used to play back when I used to play a lot casually. I don't have it built at the moment. Right now I have a Slinvada very very casual commander deck. It has all of the worst sea monsters ever printed, like Polar Kraken and Yoko Mordor, and it also has some like actual like design for Commander Krakens. I try to keep an even balance there. And then I have a Burgy deck, but I haven't like removed my Mana Crypt or the Goblin that got banned. So I'm probably gonna take that apart and sell it. I've been meaning to for a long time, and I just haven't got around to it. I think I can't kick Consult and Counterspell. I feel like fighting over a bowman in the matchup seems correct. Well, I knew my opponent had Charlotte's Agent in their hand from the Coiling Oracle reveal, which meant that if I needed to have the counterspell available to counter the Birthing Ritual. Where do you sell a deck? So I used to sell on Facebook Marketplace, but now I have a lot of weirdos messaging me on Facebook all the time. So, um, yeah, let's cling, so I can set up to protect the consult. I think I have a bunch of weirdos messaging me on Facebook all the time. So, um, if I'm gonna sell something, I'm probably just gonna go through a friend of mine to sell it for me. So now I have the island so I can protect my consult. Can turn your Burgy deck into an NT deck. Yeah, maybe. Oh, sorry. I said it's a Magda deck. I don't remember if I said it was Burgy. It's a Magda. Just like put a bunch of dragons into play. I really like the dragon that you roll a d20, get that many treasures. That's like the card that makes me want to play Commander. Why did you keep three clings? I cited one out, but like as you can see here, Cling to Dust is just good in this matchup. You know, you just they don't do anything. You just cantrip. But I did trim one. Was there a thought to sideboard frogs some more in the more non-interactive matchups? I didn't really think much about it, but you could, I suppose. One thing is, in all of the non-interactive matchups, you always have a good amount of other sideboard cards you could be playing, right? Oh, sorry. Obviously, we want to be holding up the counterspell. That was the whole plan here. So I could counter unless you pay 3, so let's can't do that. So we'll counterspell back. So they bounce the counterspell back to my hand. So we're gonna need to find a Bowmaster Or a wand soon. Or I guess subtlety maybe. That's none of those. So why don't we field them? Well, I guess we can do that a little bit later. Like draw stab is probably fine. Although they might. We'll see if they surveilled now. It's kind of weird they haven't surveilled a second time. I think they only have, they only have four. They failed to find. Okay, so we'll go and do this again. It's amazing me a card like Ancient Copper Dragon is playable in any format. Is it actually good in Commander? I don't know. Commander, I don't know. I don't play Commander to win. I play Commander to have fun and enjoy Magic the Gathering in a very casual environment. And I know when I hit my opponent with a Copper Dragon, it's really fun and cool. And I've done it like twice ever, and that's good enough for me. I think that I've played Commander for a long time, and I've always felt like for me, I just enjoy playing it in a less competitive environment, and I like competing in 60 card formats. All right, maybe not too late here. Seems like we'll be able to resolve it. Sounds like the kind of player who tries to assemble a Cauldron. I would love to assemble a Cauldron. I mean, this is kind of the problem with Commander, right? Is that there's just a big disconnect in the way people engage with the game. Nazar with the 33 months. Hope you're doing well. If I cling to Dust to gain life, it's kind of like a triple time walk here. So I get the holiday card from Wizards, and I usually give it out to a friend. And I gave it out to a friend of mine who plays Commander regularly. He lives like 2 hours away, so I don't like go to the shop or play with him very much. But um uh I gave him like the holiday card this year, which was called Cheer. It was a red and white evoke card. You can pitch a red or white, and you have to cheer for your opponent when you play it. And I asked him if he would put it in a commander deck, and he said he would, and he played it at his LGS, and nobody had a problem with it, which I think is fun. Paulo with the gifted sub, thank you. Two life, not that low with the cling to dust in the yard, I guess. Logic not a little awkward with how much I probably want to cling to dust to gain life this game, though. Yeah, this was it. Cheer. Lifelink haste. When it enters, create two tokens that are copy of target tokens. So pretty powerful card, or could be powerful. And you can evoke it. I guess you can evoke it for just for no card. You to celebrate. I thought you had to pitch a card too. You have to celebrate an opponent, but I don't know. I think it's a pretty fun card. Crazy they don't have a second surveil land. Oh, that's right. It's in the exile. I don't know how it got there. Oh, I clinged to dust it. That's right. So probably not going to run the subtlety out right now. End of turn though. A little bit worried about another subtlety, I guess. Hopefully you can win this fight. So they evoke a subtlety pitching Oculus. Seems like I still want to cast a counterspell here. It's kind of a nightmare if I just do nothing and then I haven't used my mana at all. Yeah, it does kind of seem like they have another subtlety. So hopefully this works. Would Into the Story be playable in current modern? I think Flage by itself basically means you can't ever play Into the Story. Maybe I'm over dramatic about it, but that's kind of my main reason for disliking it. Now we are out of hard counters, so if they have another Oculus sitting there, we're in trouble. They could have a Dismember. No way they upkeep Dismember while I was tapped out. Well, someone's not ghosting. They're just literally dead on board. This is crazy. Maybe the Force of Negation? Okay, the last two cards are Force of Negation Sync. Fun. Cool. So yeah, I was hoping that they would block here because we're now just ahead in the race. It didn't really matter too much if they blocked or didn't, I guess. You detect ghosting when they made the worst possible play? What are you talking about? Alright, so they're still attacking. Guess that makes sense. I have the first big top deck here. A huge top deck. Did he? I think he made the play. I mean, if my opponent was ghosting, they would have definitely main phased the Dismember. I did not. I couldn't cast the Spell Pierce, right? Even if they weren't ghosting, they still wouldn't have. But y'all countering this? I think no. I could attack to let a Birthing Ritual resolve, though. Sure. This is bad if I draw another push, though. So it's kind of even if I draw a Bowmaster. I also have Cling in my yard, so trading cards is just kind of generally fine. Yeah, and then now I can let this resolve. Not that I love doing that, but I think with how tense this is, yeah, we just upkeep Bowmaster, hold up Counterspell, win unless they draw Shardless Agent into a creature. So I guess if they draw Shardless Agent into a creature, Bowmaster beats that. So let's not upkeep Bowmaster then. If that's the one thing we lose to, let's play around it because we can. Oh, that's right. Trading tokens doesn't help Cling, of course. Beautiful hand. I'm never getting basic Swamp turn 1, so I guess I should play Strand on turn 1. Right, I'm gonna be right back. Okay, our opponent's on a mull to 5. I guess I'm just gonna go plug my phone in while we continue to wait. So mull to 5, play a basic Swamp, cast a Thoughtseize. Love getting Thoughtseize after they mull to 5. Not sure what mull to 5 Thoughtseize is, maybe like Soul Trader. I take my Bowmaster. Let's go ahead and graveyard that, looking for lands. They've got an upkeep stop and they've got a draw step stop on. I guess I'm gonna keep this up. I don't know. I don't know. What do we think? 3 minutes to or 2 minutes to keep their hand, and then upkeep stop, draw step stop. Is that hand hider worthy? I don't know. They know most of my hand already, so maybe it doesn't matter that much. I drew a Field of Ruin. Let's leave it up. This deck just kind of sucks when your opponent can see your hand. So I guess we should be surveilling with the trigger on the stack, Cling to Dust. This way we don't draw the sewers, but this way we get to make a better decision on our surveil. So graveyard the Edict again, or graveyard that Edict. They don't crack their fetch. Yeah, they could just have bad internet. There's obviously a lot of things that could be happening, but I think more so than most decks we play. Like this deck is just like so unplayable if our opponent knows our hand reliably. So it just does feel like we should be mindful of that and hand hiding more aggressively when there's some suspicious stuff. I feel like none of this is really hand hider worthy because I'm not sure why having the stream up would take their clock time. So the 2 minutes to keep a mulligan is like very suspicious because you queue in, you see you're playing against a streamer, and then you type in Twitch.tv, you go to the Magic tab, you find the username. Like that takes about 2 minutes, you know. This is like, you know, usually the first kind of red flag, and obviously not every time an opponent who queues in that takes 2 minutes is going to be ghosting, but some percentage of the time it is. It's hard to know what percentage that is, but certainly some percentage that is just someone who's ghosting. And then the upkeep draw step stops that have left, by the way. This game started with upkeep draw step stops that have now gone away, which is very odd. Um, like this is also a little bit of a red flag, you know, that you would want to see. Although it's weird, but like you just want to see like the draw step is, I think, the theory. Do you think names should be anonymous online? Yes, I've suggested to Daybreak Games that a streamer mode where it just gives your opponent a random username would be really helpful. They said they were working on it. That was about a year ago, so it doesn't seem like it's very likely to come, but we'll see. Yeah, there's also a delay here, so I don't know. Again, my opponent might not be ghosting, but again, I'm more aggressively using the hand hider because we're of the deck we're playing. I wouldn't be this aggressive about it if we weren't playing draw go, where every single card in my hand just matters so much for my opponent to not know about. Like my opponent would not be cracking the fetch here if they knew I had won. It's just like when you play a more proactive deck, it matters less. Keeping up the logic not here still instead of drawing an extra card. Should not give you the real name. Yeah, I think that would be nice. You get a random username and random avatar, that would almost solve it. Yeah, it would be really nice. Maybe I'll remind them that that's something that would be helpful. Yeah, I thought about making another account with a different name too. The problem with that, or there's a couple small problems with that. All right, we'll let that resolve. I think we need to let this one not resolve. Spell Pierce, huh? So I'm gonna exile my Cling to Dust. Are they Grixis Froculus? Yeah, some flavor of Grixis Unearth. Most likely, if they're playing looting, they have Persist in their deck and Emperor. Remember the few months Logic Not? Yeah, Logic Not with Beanstalk was so sick. All right, so let's think for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna Fatal Push the Emperor of Bones here. So let's ping the frog here, and then they'll fly the frog, and then they'll have to discard whatever they draw in order to save the frog from the Bowmaster ping. Oh, they I just missed they didn't have another basic, and then still getting to draw the card is just, yeah, so gross. Okay, so discard another frog. I'm going to play another Wan. So hopefully they don't top deck another Fatal Push. We'll get to draw 2 cards. And attack for 3, putting them down to 7. Why no frog? Wan's a 5/5. This is a 2/3. Just basic math. So they have to block the Orc army if I attack with the Bowmaster, which is kind of interesting. Seems like that probably means I just attack with everything. I guess they could chump the Wan also if they wanted. Have I worked on a Wan Ice Till? I have worked on Wan Ice Till some, yeah. I haven't exactly figured out a build, but I have tried a couple times to sit down and make that work. Might still make the stream one of these days. Okay, so we're on the draw against Grixis, Persist. Dispute hits Frog, Hardcast Oculus. That's kind of it. Is Graveyard Trespasser good against them? It's kind of good against them. The thing is, we just have 3 Cling to Dust, so we're like already so good at hating their like Persist and their Unearth and stuff, and then we have Snare for Persist and Pierce for Unearth sometimes. I'm not a big Subtlety. I want 1 Subtlety, so like this could be okay. Maybe I think the first Dispute I think is probably better than the third Trespasser. Although there's also just something to be said for just playing completely at instant speed. And playing completely at instant speed in this matchup is really, really good, or mostly at instant speed. So let's do 1 Trespasser, 2 Dispute on the draw. Maybe we'll switch those numbers out on the play for game 3. Pierce, worst of games are going to go long grinding. It's definitely worse if that's the case. However, I do think we're pretty favored in those kind of games, so that might not be the biggest problem. Does your Wan Ice Till concept still run K command plus Temple? I imagine you have to give those up for Wan. Yeah, I've never tried to play Wan Ice Till plus Eldrazi. It's usually a bit much. A lot of times I'm also playing Badgermole Cub in those brews. Traz, 53 months. Drago, Dimir, Kamian. Yeah, I've really, really liked this. I would love to feel like this is the deck we want to play in the challenge on Friday. Glad we're gonna get a longer stream in today. I mean, I'm pretty exhausted. Like I got maybe like 2 hours of sleep last night, but glad to get a longer stream in today after Monday and Tuesday being a little shorter. Take another nap tonight. Yeah, always kind of impossible to mulligan Snare on the draw against the Frog deck. No Thoughtseize into Frog is good. Oh wait, sorry. I forgot I had the Hand Hider up. I have a Snare. That's the 1 card y'all get to know. Has Consult been acceptable for 2 mana? That's kind of the nice thing about Consult, is if you're desperate, you can Consult and like not lose a game sometimes. But usually you want to kick it. So they do mill an Oculus here. Let's see if they have an Unearth. No Kaito since we want to play instant speed. That, and I also genuinely think Kaito is worse than the modern player base seems to think it is. I don't think the card is very good. Is my short review of Kaito. I think the card is not the worst ever. I think that it is like sometimes fine to play as a one of. I think that it is not an overly impressive threat in modern. I think it's a pretty win more card on average. It's a grindy card that's actively bad against Boros. It's actively bad against Prowess. It's not particularly important for like any combo matchup. So I just have usually a pretty negative review of Kaito. That being said, I could be wrong. I also have not played a lot with Kaito. I played a little bit with Kaito. I've played a lot against Kaito, and just generally, I don't think it's great. Yeah, it's like good. So people say it's super good against Blink. I think it's like, it's like a good card of the matchup. It isn't like you resolve Kaito and the game just ends, though. Although maybe that's not what people are saying when they say a card is super good in the matchup. That's a lot of times what I like hear, though. I'm gonna Field of Ruin this turn. So yeah, it's good against Blink. Yeah, good against Blink at the mirror. But another thing too is like when you're playing Dimir decks, the matchups you really want to be good against are like Blink and Dimir, because like these are the games that feel great to have the edge in. But it's just not that important that you're like Dimir is not very popular. Okay, y'all get to see the hand, I guess. Dimir is not very popular, and neither is Esper Blink at the moment, or Jeskai Blink's kind of popular. Although like Jeskai Blink is much better against Kaito because of Discharge. So I fielded here so that I could have Counterspell plus Wan up, or Counterspell plus Pierce, or Bowmaster plus Pierce, or just any 2-drop plus Pierce up for next turn, which I thought was more important than just running this out as a 1 or 2/2. So you'll know about Consult 1, Spell Pierce, Counterspell Bowmaster, and I guess you'll know. I'm gonna play this island, so whole hand is known to everyone here. 4-1 versus first Snappy is quite the statement. It's the Brute Channel. I wouldn't say it's a big statement. Snapcaster is, I think, unplayable in Modern unless you have Flame of Venor in your deck. This is a stance I've had for, like, maybe even pre-MH3. Pre-MH3, I had this stance, and then Snapcaster didn't get, like, better post-MH3. So, you know, it's possible you could play Snapcaster as like a 1-of in this deck, but it's not like the 4th one is a big statement. You know, it's like it's and the absence of Snapcaster is a statement. It's like Snapcaster is a big time nostalgia card. I don't think it really is one that its absence is super super seen here. So get disputed. Do I play the Consult into another dispute? I don't think so. I think we can just chill. Hand no, not the whole hand. Snapcaster in the Unearthed deck. It's a little bit better in the Unearthed deck, but at the very least, like, this is not a deck that Snapcaster would likely be optimal in. It wouldn't be like the worst to play one Snapcaster, but I just don't think it's very likely to be optimal. For me, a high sensitive instance require one Snappy at least. I think if the control is better, comes better, could be meta dependent. I could be. I just, again, at the very least, I'm not making a big statement by not playing Snapcaster. Snapcaster is just not a modern staple in 2025. It is like kind of fringe playable, and almost always fringe playable because of Flame of Venor. And it's 2026. That's right. So it does seem like they have the second dispute, most likely. So let me take Fatal Push, Consult, and then just play this tapped. Looking for Revolt to kill the Oculus. That also kills, well, I guess I would have to go Consult into... Okay, I guess we say no. The hand is probably Dispute Mystery card here. Probably a bit too dogmatic in my view of certain archetypes. Decks would always be the same if people didn't pick up cards above existing cards. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Listen, I love Snapcaster Mage. I've played so much Snapcaster Mage in my life, but it's just one of these cards I just have unfortunately phased out of most of my piles. So it's their instep. They fetch a tap Steam Vents. I've also really liked the 4th one. You just always, it's good on turn 2. It's good on every turn in the game, basically, or not turn 1. But it's a card that dies a lot. If you draw multiples, you get to like it's better on turn 2 than Snapcaster. It's better on turn 6 than Snapcaster usually. I think it's just in this deck definitely a 4-of. Love when Spike ran a league with Snap to prove it wasn't playable ever again in XP50. Did that happen? It was like fan fiction, but you might be. It might have happened. I wish it had happened. I guess they surgical my Field of Ruins. We do have one Demolition Field. Gonna keep playing around Dispute here. You're forced under duress to play Snapcaster 22/6. How would you make a shine? Snapcaster is fine if Flame of Venor is good. You can type Flame of Venor in my Mox field and you can find lots of. You can type Snapcaster. You can find lots of Snapcaster decks. It is very good with Flame, but like I would just play it with Flame and not really think much about it without. Well, gonna be tough to lose this one. Any reason they wouldn't fetch in response to one? I think they have 0 more fetchables in their deck. They also would go to 1 life if they had fetched, right? Or there's 0 life here. I'm just gonna I'll keep another one. Didn't know Snapcaster was a sensitive subject. I'm just enjoying this conversation. I thought it was a good talk. That's right. I think I want to play Watery Grave tap turn 1, so like they're a bit more likely to play into my 2-drops. They're on a Mold of 6 here. Last seen 1 day ago on Ruby Storm. Should be a good matchup if they're still on Ruby Storm. It would be nice to play against Ruby Storm because we played against 3 like really grindy matchups in a row, so just a combo deck to relax for a round before round 5 would be nice. They did Mold of 6. They're rich. Will stock up ever be a better option than consult? Yeah, I think it is sometimes. It's better in decks that make more mana quickly. It's better in like 2-card combo decks usually. It's better if you have like Ugin's Labyrinth, which is kind of the same thing. Consult is just a lot better in decks like this that are playing like all at instant speed, of course. So I like that we can just draw cards with field while we're holding up our counterspell here. Why not fetch reveal? I said this, but I didn't know the matchup. If I shock in Watery Grave on turn 2, my opponent's just a lot more likely to like try to play around something than if I leave up a fetch land. Okay, nice. They missed their land drop. Cling is kind of interesting. Maybe not super great not to have double black up to play Bowmaster and Cling this turn. Probably shouldn't matter a lot. They Reckless Impulse again. This time they hit a 3rd basic mountain and another Reckless Impulse. The basic land count can vary a bunch. I'm going to go ahead and exile their Strike It Rich. I think that could be kind of problematic. Let them overwhelm my mana potentially. But if I had known the matchup, if I knew for sure it was Storm, I would have played the Surveil turn 1. They hit 2 Glimpse the Impossibles, which are I'm definitely not gonna counter the first one here. And then I think I'm actually gonna Cling. If I see a Pierce or a Snare, I'll probably want to get rid of this. Okay. They hit a Manamorphose and they hit a Rin's Resolve. Would be nice to find a second piece of counter magic at some point. They do have another basic. That's pretty likely to find me a second piece at least. Maybe I should have got another island. Okay, so they are down to 8 life. We have Sneaky Lethal with the Subtlety next turn. Although now they're at 7 and we have 7, so we don't even need to play the Subtlety. Could be a fine. I think because we have Subtlety for Rao, like trying to save this for a Ruby could be good too. A Splice Desperate Ritual is looking very counterable here. Maybe I should consult first. I think it's okay to just counter this. And then we have a lot of cards that just win the game. Snare, Pierce, Counterspell, Logic Not All win. And this was on that list. Oh wait, only have 6. Okay, they concede. I totally thought they were dead. Okay, well then they conceded anyways. It's funny. All right, so let's bring in a Force of Negation. I think I'm cutting all of my Sheoldred's edicts. Do I want Consign to counter Ruby Medallion? I think the first one's okay. Sometimes countering a not a grape shot trigger, although I guess occasionally a grape shot trigger, but countering a into the Warren's trigger or Stormscale Scion trigger or Galvanic Relay trigger can be a big deal. So I think I'll play 1 and then play. We could play like honestly 3 mana leak is not the worst. It's not that good. I think I'll play second Consign on the draw, then on the play we'll probably play like first dispute, maybe first explosives. No, there was a trophy prediction. I see people having predicted there. All right, probably have to mulligan this on the draw against Storm. Probably keep this on the draw against Storm. Let's put back the Bowmaster, even though it's our pressure. I think I really want to have all my other cards a little bit more. Yeah, Edict dealing with flipped Ral is kind of interesting. I agree. Maybe we should be playing 1. I think on turn 2 you just let this resolve. They did hit 2 cards they can play, but I think enough of the time they only hit 1 card that they can play that you just let it resolve here. Okay, nice that we get to consign the Ruby. Maybe we don't need to shock in the second Watery Grave though. Kind of interested in fielding because of Orm's Chant before they can untap an Orm's Chant me, but I think it's okay not to. So they missed their land drop. All right, let's go draw step Field of Ruin. We do know that they have another basic. This is in order to try to lock them off Orm's Chant. But they maybe drew it for turn. I'm gonna go ahead and just let that resolve. I think trying to fight over it here is probably a losing play because I would have to like pitch Force of Negation. I don't think I'm gonna win a game where I pitch Force of Negation that often. They hit a Wish, a Desperate Ritual, and a Grape Shot. Yikes. No, if we field in Pierce, then they can pay. I love how fast they're playing. I mean, we're just dead. Game 3 on the play. So I guess I needed to main phase the field. Like that's probably just the difference between winning and losing this game, unfortunately. So they boarded at Orm's Chant. Does that change much about my sideboard plan? I don't know. Honestly, I am just now realizing I've got way too many subtleties. I think I'll probably just play 3 disputes and an edict over any of the subtleties. Maybe the first subtlety is better than the first edict, or third. I guess first subtlety is probably better than third dispute. If they pay, they can't go off this turn. That's true. Maybe those worth a pierce then. I think it's just they're also not that likely to be able to kill me. I think it was okay to just kind of make them do it, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Really want to surveil into a land. Field of Ruin would be okay, but I obviously would prefer a blue source. I don't know if I'd keep a Field of Ruin on top or not. We do have the Consult to try to hit the extra blue source too. Why would they cast Chant if they don't have it? Well, they might be having a weaker hand that could fizzle in that spot, and they might do it because they could try to bluff out a counterspell. They might be casting it because they know that the chant is going to be dead because they have lost their white mana. I think all of that seems likely enough, doesn't it? Bummer. Okay, they do have 2 Manamorphose. Well, I guess they'll just respond to this frog with the second Manamorphose. So I guess maybe I could have somehow just killed the Ral if they lose 2 flips. These 2 land field hands kind of will hurt so bad. Yeah, maybe we should even be just playing 4. Could be playing 23 lands maybe too if we do that. They do get to flip the Ral. They decline to use the flip even though they have an ultimate available with 5 cards in hand of 5 mana. They lost this flip. They've got 4 cards left. 4 mana. Dead. Okay. Well, feels bad. I don't know. I don't think we should have mulliganed. I do think that game 2 was winnable if we just field main phase, which honestly was probably a play we could have made. Although their hand was still very good. I don't know that we would have won, but I think it was a mistake not to field main phase. We'll get a 4-1 prediction going though. Like we just played against Ruby Storm and the fields drew us 2 cards in game 1. What deck plays the most basics? Like there's a lot of obscure decks that end up playing a bunch, but of like common decks, there's not that many. Anyone about Splashing White for Pass and Pest Control? Really against, I guess, Path Exile at least. We have explosives also, so it doesn't really feel like splashing for Pest Control makes that much sense. Thoughts on replacing Counterspell with Lose Focus or Mana Leak? I just am not that interested. Like we're a 24 land deck. We just have the quantity of blue sources to reliably have Counterspell up on turn 2. And you're not always literally always gonna have it, but 18 blue sources just is enough. Sorry, I don't know why sorry, I need to be holding this up, of course. I guess we could double block. I think that because they've got the bobble, I don't want to. Another bobble. So they're gonna really want to. It doesn't seem like they have a removal spell for the Bowmaster. Let's gain 3 life with this block. I was kind of hoping they would move the Quarry Steelcutter over second main phase to play into the 1. I guess that's a little narrow. In an alternate reality where Miscalc is legal, they played over Counterspell. I mean, no, Counterspell is so important in so many situations. Like against Capican and your Scape Shift and Solitude is just so incredibly important that it's actually counters the spell. But I said oops because they didn't crack the foothills. I think I want to go ahead and get this now then. So that if they crack the Wooded Foothills and they top deck Lightning Bolt, gets to be a 4/4. And then like this might just cut them off blue if they don't crack the fetch. Pretty cool to see talent, even though it may not be optimal. I agree, yeah. Yeah, I just can't crack the baubles because I get to ping both these 1/1s, huh? They play another fetch land. They've got one card in their hand that's kind of likely to be a land. Yeah, I just have one Demolition Field. Again, you could go down to 4. Oh, so I should have targeted Steel Cutter. Although they have artifacts too, it's not going to matter a lot. This Bowmaster is really holding it down. Lava Dart is just the exact card we couldn't see here, huh? So I think I'm going to consult, see if I hit a second Bowmaster. I do hit a second Bowmaster. Yeah, I do think I'm gonna Spell Pierce this. But I'm a little bit worried to Spell Pierce before I play the other Bowmaster. Because then they get to flash back the Lava Dart to trigger Prowess, is the thing. So that's why I wanted to consult first to see if I drew another Bowmaster to see if I wanted to Logic Knot or not. Because then I get to hold the Logic Knot for next turn. Which I think this makes sense, right? All right, so this Bowmaster is dead. I guess the problem is they get to flashback and kill the other Bowmaster. So although I get kind of unpunished because I drew this one. So they're gonna leave this equipped, or at least they should leave this equipped. Yeah, and then I guess I'm gonna take 4. Yeah, I don't think I can afford to block with the Wan. And then they're gonna crack this, and I get the Bowmaster, blow up all of their creatures, but then they're gonna get to draw a bunch of cards for next turn. I guess, sorry, not all of their creatures, just these two. Do I attack with the Wan, or should the Orc Army? I think no. It seems like the Wan is very likely to be lethal next turn because of the if they crack the Bauble or the Wooded Foothills. And if not, I can attack with all my other stuff. Yeah, they do go ahead and crack. So now we've got Logic Knot, we've got Subtlety up. They probably will need to crack this, yeah. So now we get to draw another card. I don't have Force main deck. I think I will be bringing it in. I don't think I brought it in last time I played against Prowess, though. Are there any spells every opponent searched up? Like it's like Path to Exile, Price of Freedom. We have paired Wand with both of these. I'm not a fan of Path to Exile in this current metagame. They do have another Lava Dart, so they could flashback the Dart to kill this Bowmaster before their Dart triggers. Or so their Bauble triggers the Bowmaster. Although this Bowmaster triggering here doesn't seem to matter all that much. They would also be -1 mana for this turn. Seems like they identified doesn't matter that much. I think we might as well target this. Since, like, the Wan is just gonna live and it's gonna kill them next turn. Yeah, Wan having Vigilance is insane. Like, the Wan is just, like, 2 mana, draw 4 cards, 5/5 this game, 5/5 Flying Vigilance. Not exactly that, but took a while to get there. It also stopped them from sacking their fetches for a while. How has Storm Chaser's talent looked to y'all so far today? This is their second time playing against it. Our opponents have not level 2'd it, and it's died to the tokens died to Bowmaster a bunch. I think they might have Boomerang Basic'd it one time, though. So I don't think we counter that. Target creature blocks this turn if able. You may have a gain reach if able. And they get to learn. So what lesson are they going to get here? At the moment, I have a block on this guy here. I lose if I Logic Knot this and they have Lightning Bolt. But I guess if they go flash... I mean, if they flash back 2 darts, they're just going to have 1 land. And then I'll go block here, this dies. And then they still have a token. They get the shock lesson. Does that target that doesn't target players though? That only targets creatures, right? At the moment, I think this is good if they have good to counter if they don't have if I don't want to play around Bolt or Dart as one of the last two cards. They could also have Boomerang Basics. I think that's just enough cards for me to not logic not. And now we've got Reach and Flying. All right, they grabbed Boomerang Basics, so they're going to target my Orc. Okay, so logic not this. Again, maybe just didn't make sense to play around a Bolt or a Dart. I think it was okay. Especially if this just gets them down to one land. And they're gonna unless they have mutagenic growth. Okay, they play an Arid Mesa. So now I guess that the last card is another Boomerang Basics or Lava Dart or Bolt we lose if we don't draw something off the wand. They go to combat. They flash back Lava Dart targeting the wand. I guess it's the same as targeting me because of the trample. Oh, this also means they just have to sacrifice one less dart. Although this would kill this monk token right now. Yeah, I don't know if they realized I put a damage on the monk token or not. So maybe the last card is like a Channeler or a Swift Spear. That 3, I've got a Subtlety in my hand. Sheoldred's Edict, not a bad draw. Your turn. They've got a Lava Dart in their yard still. There's a Slick Shot show off. So if I Subtlety this, my opponent could flash back Lava Dart on my Subtlety, but then I could just block the Steel Cutter. So let's hardcast the Subtlety, I think. Snare plus Edict seems like... Oh, I have 5. I didn't realize I had 5 mana. I did not realize I had 5 mana. Does that change anything? Do I Snare and then they Lava Dart me and then what? Do I just Edict the Steel Cutter? Do I gain 3 life? I'm dead to Lightning Bolts. I think we'll Snare. I don't know. I could also like gain 3 life off of a Cling to Dust potentially. Can you cast Subtlety Evoke? I can, but it doesn't seem like Subtlety Evoke makes any sense. Let me know. Let me know if there's like something I'm missing about the line of Subtlety Evoke in this spot. Snare than Subtlety Block. Yeah, that might also just have been worse than Subtlety anyways, but I thought I might want to be able to Edict. They do keep a card on top. So we'll see if they go for the Lava Dart for lethal. If they don't, we just Subtlety win the game. My opponent said, oops again. I mean, I had the Edict. And then they concede the game. Did a bauble show them Subtlety? Anybody remember? I don't remember. A little suspect if it didn't, but I'll just say it did, I guess. All right, I'm going to cut the 4th one. It probably did. 2 explosives. 3 subtleties. 3. -1, -1. -1. Yeah, this also. Yeah, I didn't remember. I think that makes sense. You've had the subtleties for a bit. Yeah, just like your opponent wouldn't just concede there unless they knew for sure I had the subtlety. Don't understand. I mean, I think my opponent's saying oops because they meant to cast Dart before damage and they didn't. Well, let's not mulligan this on the draw against Prowess. They've kept 7 on the play. A little bit scary not to have a Snare or a Pierce, though. Better than Swift Spear here, I guess. Yeah, a lot better. Well, they don't have another blue source. That could be bad for them. I guess we'll just push now. Oh, nice top deck. Anybody been playing a lot of Prowess? How are with Storm Chaser's talent? Have y'all been liking it? They reveal a Wooded Foothills, and they'll probably play the Storm Chaser's Talent here. So I think I want to get a little bit aggressive. I think I'm going to attack with both of these here. I'm okay if they block. If they block a Mutagenic Growth, we'll probably Sheoldred's Edict, although maybe we would still play Trespasser. We'll think a little bit more on it. They do block. Yeah, I'm okay making that trade. Like maybe their hand's like full of preordains and no removal spells, but if they've got no removal spells, I guess we still have the maybe unchecked Graveyard Trespasser. Now, this may come as a shock to some of y'all. Prowess is not very good at playing defense, so okay, they did have another Boomerang base 6. Prowess is not very good at playing defense, so I usually like to kind of get them on the back foot in games like this, where they're like their mana base is very painful. They've got Mutagenic Growth that's painful. They're just not very good at blocking. And if you can get them on the back foot early like this, which is very difficult to do, especially when you're on the draw like we were, it can be very worth it. Basics on talent, ain't got nothing on bouncing your experimental synthesizer. Hell yeah. All right, so let's go to combat. I think I will be attacking with both again. I think I'm going to feel comfortable enough at 20 life with removal of my hand. All right. No instance, just trading. Totally fine with that. Can't subtlety that. It's interesting that all the pros and cons of this card have come up this match so far. Also not a creature for graveyard Trespasser. I think if you're going to bounce stuff, you should play both Synthesizer and Talent with no... Yeah, that is interesting. Synthesizer over Preordained to buff your Boomerang basics. It's kind of cool. One top, one bottom. They play a Steel Cutter, so I guess we're going to hope to find one of our Engineered Explosives off the Consult. We also could just run out of Subtlety. This is flipping back, though. I think the Explosives is just so insane if we find it. Not too bad either. So let's keep the pressure up. They have, I guess they have all sorceries in one land, so we'll just hurt Delirium by targeting the Wooded Foothills. Seems like we just want to play Polluted Delta and pass. Casting Subtlety seems pretty valuable. Let's do it. Again, when they're just on 6 life. So they've been holding these for a while, huh? 2 cards left after this. So they're not going to be playing any 2-drop. That's not Iteration. They make my Subtlety block. They're going to get Boomerang basics for their Storm Chaser's talent. I feel like I'm just going to end up blocking the token and then pushing the token. Definitely interesting that there are no creatures in the graveyard at the moment. So when they replay their Storm Chaser's talent, they're going to have a blocker for my Graveyard Glutton. And then if we attack with both, we force the block. We put them down to 3 life points. They're going to get to draw. They're going to have a lot of cards in their hand for next turn. We can edict one of their blockers, or one of their... They're gonna sack this monk token. Oh my gosh, they did not replay the Storm Chaser's talent, so they have Lightning Bolt then? Maybe they oops again? No, they Lightning Bolt Graveyard Trespasser instead of Subtlety. I think that makes a good bit of sense since this would gain some life if the Subtlety died. They discard a Lava Dart, gets a little bit of value. We draw a Counterspell. So I think we need to be attacking. I do not want them to Lava Dart on their turn to make another token. That would be bad for me. So I don't think I want to incentivize that by Field of Ruining or anything here. They do that. They do so anyways. So now what is the plan? So is it going to be maybe important for me to double field? If I double field, I tap 2, they get 1. I tap 2. I could Edict, then I would not have any counter magic up, but I would be able to stop them from having any blue sources. Potentially, I would be killing one of their lands too. They're gonna have either 1 more basic or 0 more basics. No, I think the other opponent had the island. I don't think the island is stock. We could be wrong about that. Seems pretty close. I think I'm gonna hold up my counter magic instead. Let me know what you would do. Pretty sure he has island on talent plus boomerang. Maybe. I think we should counterspell this. Maybe you should be holding for a lightning bolt instead. Right now we've got 5 damage, 7 damage with another spell. Did the lava dart, I guess. I guess they might get another. Wait, didn't they already learn for a boomerang basics? Yeah, they already. They're not gonna have another one in their sideboard to get. I would have left in all 4 Wan Shi Tongs. I mean, you really just don't want 2 in your opening hand. I feel like if that's the case, a lot of times cutting 1 is fine. What would you have cut instead of the 4th Wan Shi Tong? So they decided to discard an Arid Mesa instead of grabbing a lesson. It's a good sign. Unholy Heat is bad. Fuck. So yeah, maybe I was too aggressive on the counterspell. I think it was okay. We're at 4 life, no Cling to Dust, 2 Spell Snares, and nothing else. Let's maybe get some info on the Field of Ruins. No basic island or potentially a great mind trick. Probably going to go to game 3. So Graveyard Trespasser, Engineered Explosives, I guess Wan Shi Tong into something are all outs here. Cling to Dust is kind of an out. This is the only creature in a graveyard, so I guess we'll go to 4. Best possible spell for them to have for us, of course. So now there's also another creature in the graveyard. Although in this spot, I think we should draw a card. And then we can gain life next turn if we don't draw anything in our 2 draws. Oh, there's also a Subtlety in the yard. I missed that. Still, I think we should draw a card. No island is crazy. I don't think it's that crazy. Do they have Surgical in their hand? I mean, how would they not have cast Surgical already? Maybe they're just reading Cling. Not too shabby. So let's go ahead and Cling main phase to avoid losing to top deck Lightning Bolt. They don't cast Surgical because you respond with Cling. I mean, they would have had to know I had Cling in my hand, for whatever that's worth. You don't think so because they're on Preordained Boomerang Storm Chaser? I mean, I think that basic island would be fine. It's just not crazy that they're not playing it in their Prowess deck. Like, Prowess is an established archetype for a long time that just doesn't play a basic island, and there's like I think a good bit of reasons to not play the basic island, and there's a good chance you just like copy a mana base from your old build. You don't adapt your mana base. I think it's not that crazy that they're not playing the island. Do I go to 3? I think if I did this much work to play around Lightning Bolt, let's just not go to 3 for the Surveil. If I had 1 more card in the yard, we could Cling again, but Still four spells in their hand. Okay, there's another. Now the blue cards are unlocked, I think. Although maybe they're out of Steam Vents. I don't know. They're somehow just passing the turn. I draw a Spell Pierce, which is a weirdly very fun draw. They might have a Bolt. I just forgot that they're at 2 also. Oh, that's they couldn't get Steam Vents because they're at 2. Totally forgot that they were at 2. They keep a card on the top. Don't think we're supposed to Spell Pierce that. So we can Cling to Dust end of turn. Since we have the Spell Pierce to beat the Bolt. And we'd want them to cast the Bolt now, obviously. I'm just going to graveyard this. I want to Cling, and does not feel like we're going to win this game just by infinitely drawing a removal spell for the Quarry Steelcutter. We need to draw a Wan Shi Tong or a Graveyard Trespasser or something. That's something. That's something. That's something too. How do we sequence this? This seems fine. Just main phase, make a 4/4. We would kind of prompt Lightning Bolt now, which I like. And still let us draw like a Fatal Push or another 1-mana interactive spell. Probably not going to need the Counterspell. If we live to next turn, we want to have something more proactive. So we're at 3. Let's see if they just played around Spell Pierce. Also, maybe we've played into like Unholy Heat a little too much. I don't know. They have 5 cards in their hand. Spell Pierce is pretty live now, though. It's been a great game. Great game. 2 cards on the bottom. They cannot play another blue spell this turn. Steam Vent's tapped. They concede? How do they have nothing there? That's crazy. They had nothing. Or maybe they just paid 2 instead of conceding. I don't know if that was on. That might have been another oops. That was a great game. We had some great games today. Not just that one. I like this deck. All of our losses could have been possible wins if with a little bit of tighter play today, which is something I like. Yeah, I don't know if that was an on purpose or a misclick there. It might have been a concession. It might have been another oops, but it seemed like they were really aware of their life total. I would really like to play this deck again on Friday in the challenge. I think it was good. It was very fun to play too. It felt nice in general. Okay, that is going to be it for me today. I will say I wanted to get to this today. We'll probably start with this tomorrow. I thought